Okay, we're back. Now we have super view, which is awesome. Okay, so where should we go? You're stuck with me. Sorry, but you're stuck with me. Did you ever think it was going to be me you were stuck with? That the best person you can find to watch at this moment in time, at least, is me. Did you ever consider that? Well, I'm pretty cool, actually. I do have my flaws, and I want to talk about something besides gangstalking. And they say don't talk about your flaws, too. I mean, in spirituality, they say, like, don't harp on that. And they say also don't brag. And it's a very deep meaning. It's not just like a superficial kind of thing. Like, it's so ugly to brag, just don't do it. It's actually like, if you become spiritual, you're actually going to have like an immense... Oh, look at this, a cop. You're actually going to have like an immense... what's it called? Let's see, get my lights on here. You're going to have an immense shift of power. You'll go into the law of power. There's two laws of life: the law of necessity and the law of power. And the law of power, everything just kind of works for you, like you're not begging. And the tendency is going to be to brag. You know, you're going to have some kind of claim of superiority, and you're going to lose it. You're going to lose your superiority by your claim to it. You're going to say, that's me. And the thing about spirituality is you can't brag about it because it's not you. Like, when you find your spirituality, it's because you've let go of your ego, and in place of your ego there's spirituality, and that doesn't belong to you. It's not personal. It's nothing you could personally brag about. And so when you try to lay claim to it, like, look how spiritual I am, then that's your ego coming in through the back door. And that's how you lose your spirituality. And I believe I've experienced that. I'm not exactly sure, because I thought I was enlightened for quite a while. When I was about 32, 33, 34, somewhere around there, for a couple years, I believed I was enlightened. And I would have explained it real fancy. I would have said, it's not me who's enlightenment. I disappeared and I merged with everything. And all that's left is enlightenment. A person can't be enlightened, but enlightenment exists. Enlightenment is when you dissolve as a person. So I'm not enlightened. I'm disappeared, and only enlightenment is here. You know, I would have had some, no matter how you would have said, no, you're not enlightened. No, if you claim to be enlightened, that means you're not enlightened. No matter how you would have argued it, I would have had a way of saying, no, that's not what it is. I am enlightened, actually. And just through the poverty of language, with no other better way to say it, I have to claim it, that I'm enlightened, because it is worth claiming. And when it happens to you, you do have to say it. You have to say it, because it's the greatest gift. It's the thing you've been searching for your whole life. And when you find it, you have to say it. For all the people who don't know it exists, for all the people who are on the path, you have to say that I've reached. And I know where you are, and there's hope for you yet. And what happened? Well, I got traumatized. And according to Osho, who's enlightened, he says once you're enlightened, you can't be unenlightened. It's forever. But he also says that Bodhidharma was enlightened. And Bodhidharma was the kind of guy who cut his eyelids off, apparently. He didn't actually, but it's just a fictional story to tell you what kind of guy Bodhidharma was. And there was some kind of meditation that Bodhidharma was trying to do, and he couldn't do it because he kept getting distracted looking at monkeys or the flowers or some kind of distraction. And so he cut his own eyelids off. And then he sat next to a wall for 12 years and he didn't talk to anyone. And he just stared at the wall for 12 years and he said, I'm not moving until I become enlightened. And finally he became enlightened. And then he had people asking him if he would show them how to be enlightened too. And he just wouldn't even he wouldn't listen to them. He wouldn't even talk to them. He wouldn't look at them. And there was this one guy who said, okay, that's fine. I'll cut off my hand. And so he cuts his hand off and he throws it in Bodhidharma's lap. And he says, you take me as your student or I'm going to be cutting my other hand off, or my foot. I guess he couldn't cut his other hand off. I'm going to be cutting off another body part in just a moment. So, I'm going to literally die right here or you're going to take me as your student. And that was Bodhidharma's first student. And eventually Bodhidharma he's very ferocious looking. If you ever look up Google images of Bodhidharma, and Bodhidharma was a bodhisattva. If you remember from a previous video where I went for a walk at night, I started calling Bodhidharma, I interchanged those two words, bodhisattva and bodhidharma. And that was kind of an accident, but it was also a corollary. Like, you're not that far off when you call Bodhidharma a bodhisattva, because you could basically just call him a bodhisattva because he was a bodhisattva. And a bodhisattva there's two kinds of enlightenment. A bodhisattva is the kind who they need you to be enlightened too. For them to be doing okay, they have to make sure that you're okay too. For a bodhisattva, there's nothing without love. Love and compassion are life. And for an arhat, that's the other kind of spirituality. Compassion and love, that's just an ego trip. That's just another desire. And the arhat doesn't care about you. If the arhat is concerned with their own journey, and whether or not you're doing okay, the arhat is not concerned. And the arhat also considers that part of their compassion, that it's a different kind of compassion. That who are they to interfere with you? You're sleeping, you're not spiritual, and you're not aware that you're not spiritual. As far as you know, there's nothing wrong with your life. And an arhat will consider it a sign of respect that they don't tell you, hey, you know what, you really should be meditating and getting spiritual over here because you're missing out. Oh man, it smells like burning rubber. And I'm hoping it's not my bike. That would really zank me. And then there's Osho, who says he's both a bodhisattva and an arhat, and neither. He's beyond both. And he takes from both. And I think Osho is the ultimate. So now if I see gangstalkers or I'm getting brighted or any of that stuff, I'm going to try not to mention it because I just want to talk about my own personal growth. And sometimes I do feel kind of like I'm doing clickbait by putting gangstalking in the title. And I feel kind of cheesy about that, but I also feel a great deal of compassion for people who don't know what gangstalking is. And I really want to reach people who don't know what it is, but who are being targeted. Because I feel the most sorry for them. Fuck man, there's a car coming. Oh, yay. And my leg strap just fell off. Okay. So, I have a leg strap for my TLC Tugger. Kind of like wraps around my leg. And one of the straps just fell off. So, I don't know if you could see this. That's not good. So I just undid the other one. Now the old me would have just rode around with it undone, and I would have been annoyed by it the whole time. But the new me, I take my time, I do things right. That's what makes me so cool. Oh, there's a girl I've been talking to who I like, a couple actually. Oh, I don't want to embarrass them though. Don't worry, I won't say who you are. And, that's pretty cool. One of them was kind of giving me a rough time. And, but she was okay too. She was nice too. Felt like she was, trying hard not to take a compliment. And I kept insisting, but I wasn't like pushy, like I wasn't like, no, fuck you. I kept my dignity. And what was it, she said something, I'll just tell you. She had this video where she showed her legs, which were really thick. And I was like, ooh, but I've never seen her face. Never seen her body really, but I've been hoping. And so she got like a whole bunch of views on one of her videos. And she's like, this is proof that all the gang stalkers are watching me because I got so many views. And I was like, no, it's not actually. I commented, what the reason is that everyone's watching is because you never show what you look like. And in this video, you're wearing these white tights and you could see your reflection in your car door. And everyone wanted to see what you look like. And that's why this video got so many views. Now I was being kind of cheeky too, because how do I know? But also, how does she know? If you get a whole bunch of views, why would you just assume that it's gang stalkers? So she said, basically that she didn't believe me. And then she said that she's not wearing white tights, she's wearing tan pants. And so then I said, and I felt kind of like dissuaded by that, like she's kind of like contradicting me, and but maybe I was contradicting her too, because she was saying that it was all the gang stalkers watching, and I was like, no, that's just regular people rewatching to see your white tights, your thick thighs and whatnot. And so then I got all up on my high horse and I rewatched. I was like, those are albino white. Those are not tan. Those look more white, so I'll call those albino white. And those are not pants, those are capris. And she was like, well, that's kind of weird that you would notice as a guy what kind of pants they are, but you're correct. And I was like, actually, it's not weird that I would notice that, because when you told me that I was incorrect for telling you that it's not gang stalkers watching, and how are you really going to contest that you know who it is watching? You told me I wasn't right, so I had to nitpick what you were saying so that I could still feel right. And while I was nitpicking you, that's when I found that you're wearing capris and not pants. Otherwise, I wouldn't have noticed. And then she gave the comment a heart, and it was like, finally we settled this, and, I came out on the bottom in the good way, and it was kind of a risky thing to do. You kind of give someone a compliment by saying, no, you're wrong. And I had also given her another spacing. I had also given her another morality check, another life lesson, which I think she deleted the comment, or YouTube did. I don't know, but the time before then, and I don't really know what she looks like, but I like her a lot. She's really nice. I mean, I watched all her videos, and I like how she sounds. Like, she's just a really good person. And I think it's a law of nature that when you're a good person, you have to be good looking. But if you're a good looking person, you don't have to be a good person. So it's like a law of nature that I know she has to be good looking. But I haven't really seen all of her. It's kind of but her thighs are really thick, and I like that a lot. But something else she said, she had made a video saying, I just don't get why people in the KKK could be black. And I was like, God damn it, why are you bringing race into this? And I said, it doesn't matter what kind of DNA you have. Like, your skin is desert tan and you're gonna only attack people who are olive tan. Or, you know, your DNA is a certain code and you're only gonna attack people outside of your code. What makes you a good person is how conscious you are. It has nothing to do with race. And I was kind of angry, like, why are you bringing race into this? Like, what does it have to do with anything? And why are you so, and this is where I kind of felt like this, I didn't say it, but why would you put a certain skin pigment in a moral class where they can't commit crimes? Like, it appears like you're just against racism. But if you look into it from a different perspective, you're saying, and how could a black person do that? Black people are morally superior. Why would a black person target their own race? You know, like, I don't know. I can see her point too. And I don't know if she deleted the comment or not, but it got deleted. And I felt kind of embarrassed about it too. And because I personally get kind of zanked when people bring up race and they talk about it. I'm kind of just like, you know, you're posing like you're against racism, but I actually feel like you're racist. I actually feel like, oh great, another racist. That's literally how I feel. And so anyway, I felt kind of bad after I posted that. And I was kind of angry. I was like, I bet she's not going to respond. Fuck. You know, and then so I went back and I wrote another comment saying, I love you. Just literally straight up, I love you. You're so innocent. You're so strong. You're so honest. You know, you're so, which may have been a way of saying you're so naive that you believe in these kind of ethical, that there's some kind of ethical morality assigned to each race. Like, oh well, my own race couldn't commit crimes. You know, every race commits crimes at the same rate when they're at the same socioeconomic status level. But anyways, so I was kind of fucking zanked, and I was just like, I love you, like, you know, and I meant it too. And remember, I hadn't seen her body at that point. So it wasn't like, you know, show me that hole. It was just, it was actually like, I actually really love you. Like, I actually don't care. If you don't respond to this, I don't care. Because that's how much I love you. Like, I'm willing to be embarrassed right now and totally look like a loser, and you just totally ignore me. Like, I'm reaching off the cliff here to tell you I love you, and you could just not even care about it. And I love you so much that I'm not even upset if you don't respond. And she responded. She was like, thank you, blah, blah, blah. She gave me a whole bunch of hearts. And I was just like fucking zanking, you know? I was like, oh, looks like I got another girlfriend. And then today, I made another girl my girlfriend in my mind. And so that was pretty cool. I had a moment where I was like, is she my girlfriend now? I was like, yep. And that was pretty cool. And so then I ate some food today. I mean, that's kind of, yeah, I get kind of upset about that. Like, I have problems with eating. I eat too much, you know, I'm too fat. And I eat the wrong foods, really. It's not that I eat too much or too little. It's that I only eat the wrong foods. And I feel kind of like, I don't know. I mean, in my mind, I do have 2 girlfriends, and that probably makes me pretty cool. But, and you know, and maybe I should just celebrate that. Like, you know, maybe I'm good enough as I am. And part of me, I know a lot of people would say that. I know a lot of people, they would say, you got this. You got this, dude. And if I had a support system in real life, like, for example, I used to go for walks on this trail all the time with people I love, like 5 times a week. And then I kind of got suspicious. They might be gang stalkers. Before I even knew what gang stalking was, actually. That was kind of the time where I lost my spirituality, and I don't think I bragged about it. But I did feel unappreciated. I did feel actually attacked for it too, which is also a common theme that spiritual people will say, which is that the higher you get, the closer you get to God, the more people are going to attack you. And that's like the revenge that they take. Because if you're right, then they're wrong. And you just can't stomach it when someone else is doing better than you. When someone else is richer than you, you can't do it. You can't allow that. And I felt like that very much. And I was so gaslit, and it was so universal. It was so many people. And I thought, there's no winning. As awesome as I get, and as I get more and more careful to not make mistakes, and the criteria for what people have to get angry at me gets more and more fanatic. When I'm doing well, suddenly I just have to close the door just the tiniest bit too hard. Just the tiniest amount. I just close the door just a little bit too hard. And someone's going to be saying, oh, wait a second there, sonny boy. You slammed the door pretty hard there, don't you think, sonny boy? What are you, fucked up or something? Fuck you, sonny boy. You know, it's just like, whoa. Should I be miserable? Clearly. Clearly, if you're miserable, everyone loves you. That's a damn truth. You want support from people, you want people to love you, you want people to be nice to you, you gotta be miserable. That's what they love. But if you're happy, nope. You know what they say then when you're happy? They say, he's faking it. Watch this. I'll show you it's just gold plating. I'll take this guy's just acting. I'll take him off his high horse. And so I think that's kind of why I lost it. And then it was just plainly being traumatized. Just with realizing I was being gang stalked. And, I had already freaked out years before then too. And I totally didn't realize what was happening then. And had I not been spiritually evolving, I also wouldn't have even realized I was being gang stalked. It takes a certain degree of intelligence to realize it. And it takes a certain degree of courage too, because everyone's telling you that you're not being gang stalked. And if you want to go against that, their next step is going to be to call you crazy. And they'll be telling you, go along with it. Come on, just pretend like you're not being gang stalked. Join the club. Betray your eyes and ears. Betray what you know. Act like it's not happening, and then you'll fit in with us. Because as we're doing it to you, we're acting also like it's not happening. So, don't you want to fit in and be loved? Don't you want to be happy? Don't you want to not be abused by us? Don't you want to be able to close the door without someone saying, excuse me, Mr. Loud? Wouldn't you wish for that? And then you find the dilemma. Then the ultimatum is very stark. It is be a hypocrite and be miserable, or be authentic and be targeted. And it goes far beyond gang stalking. It's gang stalking in a million ways. It's unorganized gang stalking too. It's psychic possession, as some would call it. The person just knows that you're not a hypocrite. And they're not even a gang stalker. But they are a hypocrite, and they hate you for it. So they're going to put gum in your hair. They're going to take a little bit too long to sell you your train ticket. They're going to just read the paper. You're waiting in line, but they're going to read the paper for a couple minutes before they help you, just to show you your place, just to show you that you're nothing. You're not anyone. So you should know where you stand. It's beneath me, you fucking hypocrite. Fuck you. And then that comes into the journey of aloneness. And ironically, that comes into the journey of togetherness too. And it's a paradox, because to be with people, and I'm no one to talk, I'm alone all the time, but hey, remember that conversation I had with that girl on the comment section? Remember, I have some girlfriends in my mind, at least. Have some good relationships, at least online. And they're sparse, they're casual. Yeah, it's just a comment here and there, but it's still nice. And I know from personal experience that I've had less good relationships in real life. A woman fakes an orgasm, whereas a man fakes an entire relationship. Okay, I've had the entire relationship be fake. And I've had women who acted like men. I've had fake friends. And I can say that I have better relationships now with people who it's casual and who I imagine are my girlfriends than I did when I was conventionally living, when I didn't know I was being gang stalked, or maybe I wasn't. And I sort of broke down. Everyone started, the time where all my friends started calling me crazy, and the time where I started feeling like they were all persecuting me, and where I got accused of having a persecution complex by someone who actually told me that his previous roommate had schizophrenia and lived with him, his roommate, but had believed that people were breaking into his room. And another one of that person's friends had an eye patch from getting into a fight where defending his friend, where they punched him in the face so many times that he lost his eye. And I said to that guy with the eye patch something about, I forget what I asked him, something about his story, like his life story or something. He was an interesting person. And he said, I would tell you, but you wouldn't believe it. Sorry. I thought, okay. I said, do you fear anything? And he didn't respond. It was kind of a weird question, do you have any fear? I don't know why I asked that. But then later on, I heard from one of my friends from my old friend group and we all lived together and hung out. We went to college together. Some of us even went to high school, but I never really hung out with anyone from high school much, except for one person, but I think he's a gang stalker. But the people I hung out with in my mid-20s, when I first started thinking they were all persecuting me, later on, one of them said, yeah, we all thought you were crazy. And he said it and you should get help. If you want to hang out anymore, you got to get diagnosed as schizophrenic and take meds. And I was like, the fact that you would even think that I would want to hang out with you guys is fucking insane. I mean, I would, but, it wasn't like I left because I was crazy. And maybe they weren't gang stalkers too, but I was just reacting to being gang stalked and freaking out. And to them that looked crazy, but I still wouldn't hang out with people who don't acknowledge gang stalking. And I don't hold that against them, but I kind of do, because gang stalking is not really that much egregious more than the war crimes that are done by the government on other countries. So the fact that they do it to their own citizens, that should be obvious to people. And if you don't realize that, then you're kind of ridiculous. And I think you're kind of a fool, actually. Kind of a crank. I had a couple genius friends, really, really excessive genius, very rare genius. And to me, they're what Tesla called a crank, Tesla called Einstein a crank, which is some kind of hack, just some kind of buffoon. And that's how I felt, and that's how I feel about people who don't understand what gang stalking is and who don't give it any credence at all. Now, maybe I'm the fool because I don't know what credence means, but what I think it means is consideration. So a couple years ago, like maybe 4 years ago, that's when I had a new group of friends, and I was also noticing with them, oh, man, I feel like I'm being persecuted by these people. I feel like they're not really listening to me. I feel taken for granted, as much as they love me too. As much as there's always something nice about the hangout too. Maybe I get offended by this and that, but there's always a feeling that I really am appreciated, that they really do love me too. And it leaves me thinking, I really also love these people. But for one reason or the other, I basically became alone again. I basically withdrew from everyone. And that was kind of scary, kind of sad, because then I really didn't have anyone. Then I was like, yeah, I'm really alone here. And when I found the TI community, I also didn't trust any TIs. I also thought TIs are, I don't even know what the fuck this is, but I don't trust anyone anymore. And that was pretty sad, actually. That was actually really sad. And I felt, I had really negative self-esteem at that point too. I had like terrible self-esteem. That was one of the saddest points in my life. And it was also coupled with panic attacks too. I was also afraid of people. I was deeply, deeply afraid of people. So much so that I'd have panic attacks. And a panic attack was represented in the show Breaking Bad, or Better Call Saul, when Hank finds out that Walt is Heisenberg. And he's like, I gotta go. And they're all having a picnic. And they're like, what's wrong, Hank? And he's like, I'm sick. I just feel like I need to go. And so he suddenly leaves. And then his wife, Marie, is talking to him. And he's not listening he can't even hear anything she's saying. It's all blur. And then he crashes the car into like a fence. And they go to the hospital. They can't find what's wrong with him. And Marie's like, okay, we have to go back to do more tests. And Hank is like, look, it's fine. This is not going to happen again. And Marie's like, how do you know? And Hank is like, it's not going to happen again. I can guarantee you it's not going to happen again. And I understood what he meant, because he didn't tell Marie that it was because he figured out Walt is Heisenberg. But the shock of it was so great that he had a panic attack. And that's what a panic attack feels like. Like you can't even talk. It's actually like hard to talk. Like it's unbelievable. And especially when you know that the person who is interrogating you about your panic attack, they're going, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You look really like there's something seriously wrong with you. And you know that person, you don't trust that person. And you don't know what gangstalking is at that point, but subliminally, you know that if you show how scared you are, if you actually say, I'm like really scared of you, then you know that person is gonna take you to the hospital and they're gonna give you meds, and you know that you don't belong on the meds because you know that the reason why you're scared is because that person is actually abusing you. And you also know that that person is so brainwashed that they don't consider themselves to be abusive. And so they'll torture you to death for your own good, in their opinion. They'll have no guilt whatsoever. They'll just act like a mother. Like, well, I'll just do, I'll saw you in half. If that's what the doctor says, it's for your own good. I don't feel bad. They'll do whatever. And so panic attacks were very fucking scary. And in the same way that Hank was like, don't worry, Marie, it's not going to happen again. I kind of felt like that. Like after I had my panic attacks, I understood what was happening once I found the community. And even before I found the community, or maybe it's only by the fact that I found the community. I'm not exactly sure. But once I found the community, and at least once I realized that my mistrust in people was in fact genuine, and I no longer gaslit myself, I could actually admit to myself, I actually do not trust these people. It's not me, it really is them. And I know that for sure. And there's no question anymore. And there's no potentially chickening out and saying, no, it is me actually, it's my fault. It's just love me and I'll take the meds and say I'm crazy. There's none of that. It's like, fuck this. These absolutely fuck what these people have to say. These people don't know shit. All their medical degrees and their fucking status, it's all fucking garbage. So once I knew that, and I don't remember exactly when I knew that, whether it was by my own merits or by finding the TI community, but once I knew that, I kind of knew that I wasn't going to have panic attacks anymore. And it's been, I think, at least a good year since I've had a panic attack or more. And the last time I came close to having one was when I went on Facebook to tell everyone locally what was happening, which was pretty scary. But before then, it had been at least a couple years before I had had one. And the first time it started happening was when I was around 28 years old. And then it went away for a while, and then it came back when I was about 34, like between 32 and 34. And I've had probably, 30 or 40 panic attacks. And they would last maybe like 2 hours, like 10 minutes. They lasted a long time.